These are 10 great games that launch straight into PlayStation Plus. Hello friends, welcome back to Hyper4Games. My name is Joseph and PlayStation Plus is changing into a 3-tier service this June. We still don't know what the catalog is gonna look like, but we had confirmation that Sony will not have its big first-party games at launch as Xbox Game Pass does. However, they could still push for indie and third-party games to launch straight into the service as PlayStation Plus has done for several years now. With that, I thought it would be cool to look at 10 great games that launch straight into PlayStation Plus. This list only takes into account since the PS4 launch, so not counting the PS3 era. If you have any other launch games not listed here or you think they should be higher or lower in the list, share your thoughts in the comments below. So let's get into it. Number 10. Bugsnax. The fall of 2020 saw the PlayStation 5 launching in most markets, and with that a new addition to the monthly PlayStation Plus lineup that will have at least one PS5 game besides two on PS4. The first PS5 game to launch was Young Horse's popular Bugsnax, which song took the internet by storm at the PS5 reveal event in June 2020. But besides having a nice theme song, it offers a light-hearted fun adventure full of charming side characters that will have you solving small puzzles and capturing very creative food hybrid creatures reminiscent of Pokemon. Number 9. Outlast. Developer Red Barrels was part of a 2013 revival in survival horror games where things had turned a bit towards the action side. Instead, they focus on a slow-paced atmospheric game where you control a reporter searching an asylum for clues looking through the lens of your night vision camera. The game was well received, with the press highlighting its visuals, settings and scares as part of an overall great horror experience, one that debuted on consoles with the PS4 and being free with PlayStation Plus in February 2014. Number 8. Spelunky. Back in 2008, sole developer Derek Yu released a freeware game for PC, a platformer with lots of monsters, traps and secrets called Spelunky. Levels are procedurally generated, so every time you play it feels like a fresh challenge. It was remade a few years later and launched into PS3 and Vita in 2013, and a year later received a PS4 version that was cross-buy enabled, thus entitling you to an additional download. It's a very popular game among critics and fans due to how addictive and replayable it is despite being hard and some may say frustrating. A sequel followed in 2020. Number 7. Super Time Force Ultra. Super Time Force Ultra is an insane action game filled with robots, dinosaurs, fun and time travel. That's according to developer Capybara Games, and they are not lying. You battle through 6 different time periods using 90 unique characters, including Sony Interactive Entertainment's own Shuhei Yoshida, with an interesting mechanic where you rewind time and team up with your past self to take on enemies. It launched on PS4 and PS Vita for free with PlayStation Plus in September 2015, with critics highlighting its unique concept of fast-paced tactical gameplay. Number 6. The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. The Binding of Isaac is an indie roguelike by sole developer Edmund Macmillan, whose previous works also include Super Meat Boy. He developed the title as an Adobe Flash game back in 2011. After Isaac's mother hears about the sacrifice to prove her faith, Isaac runs to the basement where he must face terrible enemies in randomly generated dungeons that guarantee playthroughs will never be the same. The remake, named Rebirth, debuted on consoles with PS4, launching as a PlayStation Plus title in 2014, and was praised by critics for its fun and addictive twin-stick shooter gameplay and high replayability. Number 5. Velocity 2X. Velocity 2X is the sequel to a shoot-'em-up game released for PSP in 2012 by FutureLab. It follows the story of Lieutenant Keitana as she drifted unconsciously into space to later awaken as a prisoner of the Bug Empire, who wanted to use her teleportation tech to expand across the galaxy. The sequel also diversified the shoot-'em-up spaceship gameplay with smaller side-scrolling platforming sections very reminiscent of games like Metroid. It launched as a PlayStation Plus title for both PS4 and PS Vita in 2014, but sadly, unlike other games in this list, it did more harm than good. FutureLab said that despite gathering well into the millions of downloads, it couldn't get a publisher to fund a new entry in the series, as they would want to see actual unit sales, something they look to achieve with a Switch port, but as of 2020 it seems like it's not happening. Number 4. Control Ultimate Edition. Control was one of the best games that launched in 2019, gathering great reviews from the gaming press and winning several awards that have set it as an important franchise for developer Remedy Games. However, with the launch of the new consoles and the mess it was for transitional games, publisher 505 Games decided to launch a completely new version of the game. One that would not be offered for free or with a discount to current owners of the game, or offer any type of save data or trophy transfer. But as it was about to launch on February 2nd, it was revealed to be part of PlayStation Plus and one of the highlights for the service in 2021. The hassle of saves and trophies is still there, but at least you may have gotten the game for free. Number 3. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. A fun game based on Takeshi's Castle and Wipeout from developer Mediatonic took the internet by storm in the summer of 2020. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout is an easy to pick up and play game that has you competing in a series of elimination challenges until there's only one of the small bean characters left. And it was the perfect game for the perfect time as the pandemic hit and the demand for video games and online experiences greatly increased. Plus the influential marketing was key here, with streamers taking part in the beta before launch. The game went on to become one of the most downloaded PlayStation Plus games of all time according to Devolver Digital. Number 2. Rocket League. Developer Psyonix had a very simple idea that launched on PS3 back in 2008, but supersonic acrobatic rocket-powered battle cars soccer gameplay didn't attract any fans, and yes, the name didn't help. If it looks familiar, it's because it's the same Rocket League we have now 7 years later, obviously a technically better game offering features its predecessor lacked like 60 FPS and dedicated servers. Launching as a PlayStation Plus game in 2015 alongside developers banking on influential marketing instead of traditional, an unthinkable move back then, made the game blow up online with approximately 6 million players redeeming it from PlayStation Store. Fast forward 7 years later and is an example of how services regardless of the platform offer discoverability that helps smaller games thrive. Before showing number 1, here are some honorable mentions that didn't make the list. Number 1. Resogun. Housemarque, one of the newest studios joining the PlayStation family after the critically acclaimed Returnal, was once known for creating great arcade titles until it wasn't paying the bills for them, and in 2017 announced its departure from the genre entirely. But 4 years before that, they were part of the PlayStation 4 launch with arguably one of the best games ever with Resogun, at least until Returnal launch. Resogun was a frenetic shoot-em-up that had you fighting on a cylindrical shaped level as you eliminate waves of enemies to gather points and save the human survivors to keep your multiplier. It was a challenging and fun game that also delivered on the visual department with a spectacle of light effects and enemies blowing up in pixels, and it was a game that launched completely free on PlayStation Plus. So there you go, 10 great games that launched straight into PlayStation Plus. But what do you think? Do you agree with this list? Do you think another game deserves a spot? Do you think Sony will push harder for launch indie games and third-party titles in the new service? What other top 10 would you like to see? Share your thoughts in the comments below, like or dislike to share your feedback, check out other videos you may enjoy while you're here, and consider subscribing for more PlayStation content. Thank you so much for watching, my name is Joseph, this is Hype for Games, and let's get hype!